There comes a time in everyone's life when a single moment changes everything. Sometimes it's a decision you make in a second, a conversation with a stranger, or a failure that forces you to rethink everything you believed. For me, it happened on an ordinary evening that turned into the most extraordinary turning point of my life. Back then, I was an average young man trying to survive in a big city. Every morning, I rushed to a job I didn't like, surrounded by people I didn't connect with. I worked as a junior sales assistant in a company where no one even remembered my name. I kept telling myself, someday I'll do something meaningful. But that someday never seemed to come. Each day felt repetitive. Wake up, go to work, come home, sleep, repeat. I was earning enough to survive, but not enough to live. My life had no purpose, just routine. I often sat by my apartment window at night, staring at the city lights, wondering, is this all there is to life? One Friday evening, after a particularly tough day at work, I missed my bus. It had been raining heavily, and I stood at the stop, drenched, frustrated, and exhausted. I remember thinking, why does everything go wrong for me? As I waited, I noticed a small old man sitting on the pavement nearby. He had a wooden box in front of him filled with hand-carved keychains and tiny wooden toys. Despite the cold rain, he smiled at every passerby, trying to sell his crafts. Most people ignored him and walked past, but he kept smiling. Something about that scene made me stop. I walked up to him, more out of curiosity than kindness. "Sir, it's raining so hard. Why don't you pack up and go home?" I asked. He looked up and smiled warmly. "Son, I can't go home yet. My home waits for me, but it also depends on what I earn today." His words hit me harder than I expected. I bought a small wooden keychain, and he thanked me as if I had given him the world. As I was leaving, he said something I would never forget. Life doesn't always give us comfort, but it always gives us choices. I didn't think much of it then. I just nodded and walked away. But later that night, lying on my bed, those words wouldn't leave my mind. Life gives us choices. I realized that for years, I had been blaming my circumstances, my job, my boss, my luck, but I had never truly chosen to change anything. I was waiting for something to happen, while doing nothing myself. That night became the turning point. The next morning, I woke up early. For the first time in years, I didn't rush to work or scroll through my phone. I sat with a notebook and started writing what I truly wanted in life, not what society expected, not what paid more, but what made me feel alive. I had always loved sketching and designing, but I had buried that passion under realistic goals. I told myself it couldn't feed me, that it was a childish dream. But as I wrote that morning, I realized how much I missed it. Over the next few weeks, I made a decision that scared me. I started learning graphic design online after work. Every night, instead of wasting time scrolling, I practiced for hours. I was terrible at first. My designs looked nothing like the ones professionals made, but I kept improving, one small step at a time. Months went by, and my confidence slowly grew. Then one day, I saw a small poster outside a cafe announcing a local art and design competition. My first instinct was to walk past it. "You're not ready," I told myself, but something inside whispered, "Life gives you choices." So I entered. For 2 weeks, I worked every night, designing a poster that represented what I felt inside: hope, struggle, and the beauty of starting again. On the day of the competition, I was nervous beyond words. When the judges announced the winners, I didn't hear my name. But instead of feeling disappointed, I felt proud I had finally chosen courage over comfort. As I was packing up my things to leave, one of the judges walked over to me. He complimented my creativity and offered me a small freelance project for a local brand. That was the first time someone paid me for doing something I loved. It wasn't a huge amount, but it felt like the biggest victory of my life. That single opportunity gave me the confidence to keep going. Over time, I started building my portfolio, working nights and weekends. Slowly, my client list grew. I wasn't earning much at first, but each project reminded me that I was living life on my own terms. 2 years later, I quit my sales job and became a full-time designer. It wasn't easy. There were moments I doubted myself, nights when work was scarce and bills piled up. But every time I felt like giving up, I remembered the old man's voice. Life doesn't always give us comfort, but it always gives us choices. A few years later, I was invited to speak at a local youth event about finding purpose. As I stood on stage looking at the crowd, I shared my story, from being stuck in a meaningless job to building a career I loved. When I finished, a young man walked up to me and said, "Your story feels exactly like mine. I feel stuck too." I smiled at him and repeated the same words that had changed my life years ago. Life doesn't always give us comfort, but it always gives us choices. That was the moment I realized the full power of that rainy evening. A stranger's simple words had not only changed my path, but were now inspiring others too. Years later, while visiting my hometown, I walked through the same street where I had first met the old man. His spot was empty. A shopkeeper nearby told me the man had passed away a year ago. I felt a deep ache in my chest, but also a strange sense of peace. I bought a small wooden keychain from another vendor nearby and smiled, remembering the man who had unknowingly changed my life. That keychain still hangs on my bag, a small reminder of a big lesson. Sometimes, the most powerful moments come disguised as small encounters. A single sentence, a chance meeting, or an unexpected kindness can shift your entire perspective. When I look back now, I realize my life didn't change because I became lucky or talented. It changed the moment I decided to make a choice, to stop blaming, to start trying, and to believe that I could create something meaningful. That single decision shaped everything that followed. If you're watching this and feel like your life is stuck in the same loop, remember this: you don't need a perfect plan. You just need one decision. One small act of courage can start a chain reaction that changes everything. Whether it's starting that course you've been postponing, applying for a job you're afraid you won't get, or picking up a hobby that makes you feel alive, do it. Don't wait for the perfect time. The moment you decide to change is the moment your life begins to change. My story began on a rainy evening at a bus stop. Yours could begin right now, wherever you are. So ask yourself, what choice are you making today? Because sometimes, all it takes is one moment, one small choice, to change your entire life. If this story inspired you, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs a little push to believe in themselves. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind you how powerful your choices can be. See you in the next story.